Okay, it's a big day, everybody. Lot of cannabis news. We got the federal law, the federal THC ban. The pros and cons on that. We have Florida trying to legalize marijuana for recreational use in the next 2026 ballot. So, Florida, let's get this shit right. All right. All right. Um, let's go. We got a great show for you guys today. Let's go. Okay, people. Today's high alerts. Of course, we already know the federal law on THC ban, the pros and cons. Got a video on that for you guys. Florida trying to get marijuana legalized in the state. Uh, got a video for that. Got the update on Colorado cannabis business up there. That's all in the news. All right. First news. The federal THC ban. The pros and cons. I don't have to do too much explaining. I'm going to just put on the video.
So the entire cannabis industry has been thrown into complete chaos. A federal THC hemp ban is now on the table and it's affecting all states across America, even legal states. No state is safe. But there's a twist. This ban could either destroy the US cannabis markets completely or it might be the thing that finally forces federal legalization. And today we're breaking down the real pros, the massive cons, and how this ban could reshape legislation across America forever.
Opiate addiction, I think everybody's very familiar with, has taken a lot of our friends, taken their lives or addictions. And so we wanted a natural medicine to help the community and the country.
Since 2019, Rebecca Connett and her husband have run a small hemp business called Root the Rockies, growing hemp and extracting the CBD into a variety of products, from topicals for joint aches to face creams. A freestyle motocross rider, Rebecca says her husband has suffered many injuries, leading them into the hemp industry.
This is where we make our capsules.
She says this is the first year they've made a profit, but that could all soon come crashing down.
They're basically doing a prohibition on hemp and CBD, so we would be out of business because everything we make would be above that limit.
It will keep these dangerous products out of the hands of children while preserving the hemp industry for farmers.
In the government spending bill passed last week, a provision from Kentucky Republican Senator Mitch McConnell closes a loophole from the 2018 Farm Bill that essentially legalized intoxicating hemp-derived THC products in low doses. His fellow Kentucky counterpart Rand Paul fought back to no avail.
This is the most thoughtless, ignorant proposal to an industry that I've seen in a long, long time.
Under the new restrictions, a hemp product can't have more than 0.4 milligrams of THC, which effectively ends the sale of intoxicating hemp beverages, gummies, vapes, and other products. It's become a multi-billion-dollar industry nationwide.
There's going to be up to about 500,000 jobs that are going to be lost. And there's going to be billions upon billions of dollars of revenue that's not going to be realized by the nation, not just the state of Colorado, but just the whole nation.
So as you guys would have seen in that clip, even over there in legal states like Colorado, they're going to face tons of impacts when it comes to this issue. Even legal business owners who are just trying to set up shop and make a living, they're going to find tons of problems and they're probably going to have to close their businesses. So that being said, let's dig into this, break it down a little bit more and see exactly how this can impact full federal legalization. So first off, what exactly is the government trying to ban? Well, for many years, hemp-derived cannabinoids like Delta-8, Delta-10, THCO, HHC, and most importantly, THCA existed because of a loophole in the 2018 Farm Bill. The new move would close that loophole completely by redefining illegal THC as any cannabinoid that becomes intoxicating regardless of whether it started from hemp or cannabis. In other words, if it gets you high, whether it's from hemp or from weed, it's banned. And this affects hemp shops, smoke shops, gas stations, online retailers, small farms, and millions of customers across America. This is massive. Now, there are many pros and cons, but let's start off with some of the positive arguments behind the ban. The positives, or rather the arguments that the government and some industry groups are using to justify this crackdown. And first off will be regulatory clarity. When it comes to regulatory clarity, right now the THC market is confusing and inconsistent. A ban creates a single federal rule: no intoxicating cannabinoids unless they're from regulated cannabis. This may simplify enforcement even if it hurts businesses. Now, another talking point that we hear time and time again is protection for minors. Lawmakers say that hemp THC products look like candy. They're sold without age checks and they're available in gas stations. A ban now becomes a public safety talking point, even though enforcement is a whole other story.
This isn't about corporate greed. It's about kids who are getting hemp products because they're unregulated, unlike marijuana and alcohol. Even if this were true, regulate young people using it. You don't just ban an entire industry. It's a $28 billion industry. It employs over 300,000 Americans all over the state, all over the country. It pays $13 billion in wages, $1.5 billion in taxes, and you're just going to wipe it out for your buddies in Kentucky? And by the way, if you're worried about kids getting access to it, did we ban alcohol? Kids get access to that too in high school, right? When's the last time you heard about a DUI that was caused by hemp? When's the last time you heard about hemp addiction? If you really want to make this about kids, there has been a huge drop in drinking by high school seniors after hemp was legalized. So what are you saying? We're taking this away. Go back to booze.
Another positive that some folks cite is that it can level the playing field for legal cannabis. Licensed dispensaries have complained for years that unregulated hemp THC undercuts them. THCA flower sells cheaper than dispensary flower and it's available to be sold online. People can also use debit cards when purchasing online. Vape shops also avoid taxes and testing. Now, some people in the legal cannabis industry actually support this ban because they want to eliminate their competition. In fact, legal dispensaries in legal states are already suing hemp operators and suing him for tens of millions of dollars in damages because of this new law. And they're not even waiting until the law comes into force next November. They're suing him now. Now, another point that a lot of legal dispensary owners raise is that these products in the hemp industry are not regulated. They're not tested and they're not safe for consumption. With a federal ban, agencies like the FDA may finally step in, forcing ingredient transparency, accurate testing, label consistency, and in the long run, that could mean safer products nationwide. Now, perhaps one of the biggest and most hopeful benefits that could come out of this whole thing is that the pressure could force legalization. Now, this is counterintuitive, but to some extent, it is true. The stronger the overreach, the stronger the backlash. A ban like this affects red states, blue states, medical states, prohibition states. Suddenly, everyone is angry because everyone is affected, and that kind of chaos often leads to major reform, including federal legalization, and we will talk about that a little bit later on in this video. So those are a few of the benefits and some of the positives that folks who are supporting this ban have been touting. But let's flip the script a little bit and have a look at some of the negatives. What can this ban do to a multi-billion-dollar industry? Now let's move over to the dark side, because this is where the real consequences kick in and some of those negatives really become apparent. And let's start off with perhaps the biggest and most obvious one, and that is billions in revenue will be wiped out. The hemp-derived THC market is worth billions of dollars. A ban instantly collapses supply chains, instantly shuts down businesses, halts online sales, and bankrupts family farms. This will hit rural America especially hard. Now, I know some of you guys are saying we have a year before the ban actually comes into force. That's November 2026. And during that time, we have time to lobby, we have time for some of these products to be sold, folks can clear out their inventory, but after that time, those businesses may be forced to shut down completely. Now, not only will the economy and the industry lose billions of dollars, but they'll also lose over 100,000 jobs. From growers and processors to wholesalers and retail staff, this ban doesn't just regulate an industry, it kills it. And most of those jobs are in small towns that simply cannot absorb the impact. Another massive problem is that this ban effectively criminalizes consumers effectively overnight. Millions of folks rely on hemp-derived THC because cannabis may still be illegal where they live, or simply because they cannot afford dispensary prices, or even maybe because they use it medically. These folks suddenly become criminals and felons literally overnight. Now, what lawmakers fail to understand is that when legal access disappears, demand does not go away. In fact, it just causes the black market to explode. Legal and licensed hemp labs will be replaced by illegal labs. Unregulated carts and pens will appear on the market once again in large numbers. Dangerous synthetics will return. There'll be no testing, no oversight, and no safety on the black market. And this is something that we already saw happen with the vitamin E vape crisis. And it's interesting that they say they want to protect the kids and also protect Americans and medical patients, because under this new change, medical patients will suffer the most. Veterans, disabled patients, seniors, a lot of them use hemp-derived THC legally because they cannot get a medical card or simply want lower potency or even just want more affordable medicine. And this ban ignores millions of vulnerable Americans.
Yeah, Mark, I was surprised to learn that a lot of these families we talked to today, they use CBD and other hemp-related products to help out with their children and their family. Specifically, their kids with disabilities lead nearly normal lives. Without something like this, these kids are in a lot of pain, and these families don't have any answers. The Millers have 10 kids, including Lottie.
Say turkey.
And Flint. Both of them take CBD.
It's done world for our children.
Lottie to deal with the pain from the physical abuse she experienced before she was adopted, and Flynn to treat his severe epilepsy. The Millers say the CBD has been a lot more effective than medication.
There's lots of side effects, including suicidal ideation, aggressive behavior, hostility, rage, things that we didn't want at 9 years old him to learn to grow with.
Tuesday, they and several other families and farmers met with Senator Lindsey Graham, sharing their stories and asking that he reverse last week's decision to ban most all hemp-derived products.
My daughter was not high on THC, she was alive. And that was the most profound experience, seeing your childhood has suffered from so many seizures.
Jill Swing says before the 2018 Farm Bill passed, she'd have to go to the black market to help her daughter.
So we were sold things that we didn't even know whether they were fit for human consumption.
And that's exactly my point, guys. A lot of these folks will now have to hit the black or illicit market. And the truth is, a lot of these folks do not want to do that. It's just the reality of the situation. They much rather go to a safe, secure location with a storefront and get their products that way. So that in itself is another massive negative about this whole ban. And on top of that, it's also going to cause a massive political backlash. But that may be just what we need to have this ban overturned. And the massive political backlash may be most visible in red states because they may be hit the hardest. THCA and Delta A are basically the only legal access to THC. So what happens then? Those states may fight back. You can expect lawsuits, local bills, states' right battles, political chaos, and things can get really ugly. Now let's discuss how this ban could impact legalization at the federal level. Because here's the big question. Does the federal THC hemp ban actually help or hurt the wider cannabis legalization movement? And the answer is pretty complicated. According to some experts, this may actually accelerate federal legalization. But why is that? Well, according to experts, under this federal ban, the government is hurting red states, blue states, it's hurting farmers, hurting veterans, hurting small businesses. Politicians hate angering their own voter base. And this creates a national crisis movement, and crisis almost always drives reform. According to some folks, it may also fast-track rescheduling from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3. Congress loves to compromise. They want the chaos gone without fully legalizing. And Schedule 3 would allow only medical cannabis nationally. It'll also open up banking, enable federal research, and reduce criminal penalties. This ban may in fact be the final push to force legalization. Now, as it currently stands, what this ban also does is expose the failure of patchwork state laws. The ban highlights the inconsistent laws across America, the state-by-state chaos, the regulatory confusion, and massive gaps in access. What this can do is strengthen the argument that America needs a single national cannabis system. And a single national cannabis system that's similar to alcohol could essentially legalize the good herb at a federal level. Now, this may also be a win for some of those big cannabis companies companies. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I'll leave you guys to decide that in the comments down below. But the truth is, big cannabis companies will gain more power. The MSOs, the big multi-state operators, they will lobby harder than ever for federal legalization, strict federal licensing, national cannabis standards, as they want to eliminate their hemp competitors and control the market. And this ban gives them the opportunity to do so. Now, despite the benefits, the pluses, the pros and cons, there is a worst case scenario. And that is the ban actually strengthens federal prohibition when it comes to the good herb. And we've all seen how politicians and lawmakers operate. While it may be unlikely, it's always possible that Congress uses the ban to justify more enforcement, tighter restrictions, and crack down on THC overall. But we all know that public opinion overwhelmingly favors legalization, so that may not be a good long-term option for Congress to pursue. So what does this all mean? Let's recap in a nutshell. A federal THC hemp ban could destroy small businesses, hurt medical patients, spark political chaos, strengthen black markets, but it could also be that spark that forces Congress to reschedule or legalize federally, and that'll be a big win for the good herb. Now, whether you love it or hate it, this ban is definitely a turning point, and the next few months could decide the future of cannabis in America. So all that said, let me know what you guys think about everything that we discussed in today's video. What do you guys think the pros and the cons are of this whole thing? Do you guys think that legalization at the federal level will be a positive outcome if it is in fact an outcome at the end of the tunnel? Let me know where you guys lie on this entire issue. And in our next video, we've seen a Democrat socialist appointed as mayor of New York City, and what that could mean for the good herb, especially considering his Muslim background, is pretty crazy. We break it all down. If you haven't seen that video, check it out. It's coming up right now.
Okay, that's our first update. Tell me what you think, how you feel about that. Or hold on, because we got more. Florida, trying to get legalized recreational use. I'm too excited. On the 2026 ballot, so everybody need to go out and vote. Go vote. Go vote. I know I will. Go vote. All right.
Well, the push to get recreational marijuana back on the ballot has hit a major milestone.
8 on your sides, Beth Rousseau, live in the studio with us this morning, taking a look at the latest step to get the decision in front of voters.
That's right. We're circling back to legalizing recreational marijuana. The move to get this measure on the 2026 ballot is a result of efforts by activists with Smart and Safe Florida. A lawsuit filed by the group claims the governor's administration was trying to block the issue from being put to a vote on next year's ballot. In a recent letter, Florida's Secretary of State confirmed Smart and Safe Florida has gathered hundreds of thousands of voter petitions and therefore qualified the issue to move forward and be put in front of voters. This comes after many were surprised when Floridians voted down a measure to legalize recreational marijuana back in 2024. So what's next? The state Supreme Court now has to review the proposed amendment before it can advance to the actual ballot. In the studio, Beth Rousseau, 8 on your side.
Yeah, you see how they try to sweep that under the rug like they ain't want to let that thing fly, Florida? See, something wrong with our city. Something wrong with our city. What y'all got against the weed? Like, really? Anyway, if that thing go through, it's going to take some time, apparently, they say. People got to look at it and shit in time, so it could be on the 2026 ballot. So I'm gonna keep a close eye on that for you guys. You know what I mean? I was excited, but after looking at it, it leaves me with concern, because somebody forgot to turn something in 2025 this year. Now 2026, they gotta turn something in time. They gotta look over something for it to be qualified in time for 2026. Ain't we like what? It's the 16th. Ain't the new year coming? So they got half a month to beats me, y'all. But y'all go ahead. Leave y'all comments. What y'all think about that? Floridians, let me know. What y'all think about that? Leave your comments and questions. I hope it go through. If it go through, I'm gonna go vote yes for cannabis. You should too. Hope you enjoyed that. And look here, people. Smart and Save Florida. You got 1,000 of voters petitioned to make this happen. Let's make them proud. Let's say yes to cannabis. So everybody go out there and vote. Leave your comments and your questions. Uh, I'm I'm next show. I'm gonna have all that information for you guys. I'm gonna make sure I pull that up so everybody be ready. So y'all ain't tell me y'all ain't know, cause y'all know now. So leave your comments and your questions, how you feel, how if you're on the show, you feel great about that. So Florida, let's make this happen. The last dude forgot to turn something in. Mm-mm. If I got to lead the goddamn parade, I will. Okay. All right. What we got next for you guys. Third news update has to do with Colorado and how the laws are affecting the people over there. So rotate and y'all watch that out, and then we'll talk about it after.
Federal marijuana restrictions could see changes soon. Right now, the federal government classifies marijuana as a Schedule I drug. But today, President Trump said he's considering an executive order instructing federal agencies to pursue classifying marijuana as a less dangerous substance, making it more accessible. Now, the possibility is raising questions about what will happen to Colorado's cannabis industry. Andrea Irahita with Scripps News Denver is getting answers about the implications this would have in our state.
Here at the Sphere X production facility in Aurora,
we have a really modern, state-of-the-art facility here.
Cannabis production calibrated perfectly.
A lot of automation, a lot of science behind everything we do.
Cartridges filled with cannabis oil and distributed to over 400 dispensaries across the state.
We now have the capacity to produce about 500,000 vapor cartridges a month.
Chief Revenue Officer Ryan Hunter says he's excited about the possibilities if President Trump moves ahead with an executive order to reclassify marijuana. The past few years have been tough for the local industry.
How would you describe the cannabis industry here in Colorado?
Well, I think resilient is the main word. It's been very difficult for us over the last several years.
Hunter tells me this would increase research opportunities, make it more accessible to patients, and overall increase profitability.
It's very encouraging. It takes a big shadow away from us and allows us to operate our businesses much more effectively.
Experts say a change in the tax codes would make it easier for employees in the industry.
They actually could look at maybe 40% more revenue on next year's taxes than they've seen over the last 10 years.
I really think, Colorado's in a pretty tough place financially, but this would allow these businesses to really thrive again.
But some Colorado advocates say this executive order is jumping the gun.
It just seems dangerously premature, and it would also send a signal of normalization, showing that this is acceptable for medical use, and just really advance the normalization of the use, which we feel is very dangerous for kids.
As Colorado's cannabis industry looks ahead to what's to come.
So that resilience has proved to be what has led us to this day, and we're so excited to see what comes next.
Okay, Colorado, how you feel about that? Talk to me. Talk to your boy. This thing is obviously affecting jobs and causing not a bit of concern, a lot of concern. So I'm gonna do my due diligence and do my job and keep on top of it and report it to you guys. But leave your questions, your comments down low. Tell me what you think about that. All the links to every video being played will be down low. in the descriptions. So, wow. All right. That's our 3 news updates. Okay. Let's make sure to go out there and vote. That's what I was trying to remember what the hell I was thinking about. Like I tell you, lemon fucking cherry. Lemon fucking cherry. Yeah, so go out there and vote. Let me know. Tell me what you think about the news updates. And thank you for joining me for episode 2. I hope you guys felt well informed, because there's a lot of weed talk going on right now that we gotta keep eyes on and make sure that we know these laws. We don't want to get caught up in some shit. You feel me? So roll up, keep it wacky. Peace.
Wacky leash around, keep it rolling, rolling.